Let's talk about Palworld, a game full of unique landscapes, combat, base building, dungeons, but most importantly, Pokemon-like creatures and humans that you can slaughter and enslave to do whatever you tell them to. It's a great game all around, but after just 4 short days, this game has reached almost 2 million concurrent users at its peak. This left me asking, is this game really that good? To be honest, no. Now, before I get started, I want to say I'm not making this video to bash the game and say it sucks. Like I said, it's a solid game, and I've had a lot of fun playing with my friends so far. I'm just trying to share my thoughts on why this game feels so average despite its success. Average combat, average building, average lag and bugs, even average assets and character design. Nothing feels insanely new besides the creatures and impact of having a functional slave camp. In my opinion, 1.8 million concurrent players is insane for a company that started with only 10 developers that had to learn how to use Unreal Engine on the job and kept all their assets on hundreds of flash drives. To make it even wilder, let's talk about their budget real quick. I know cost doesn't mean everything, but when it's commonly accepted that nearly 25 to 50% of a total game's budget is spent on marketing and promotional activities, it's pretty incredible that Palworld's estimated budget was only around $6.5 to $7 million, with zero budgeting plans. In a recent interview, CEO Takuro Mizobi stated that he wanted to develop the game without worrying about the budget, instead choosing to keep working until the bank account reaches zero. Instead of setting a budget limit like most companies, they were going to just keep developing until they ran out of money. After that, they claimed they would just borrow money or just release what they had at the time. When compared to other games like Battlefield 42, Elden Ring, or Spider-Man, this makes you wonder how they were able to reach so many consumers with only a fraction of the power to market and promote their game. This brings me to my first point. One obvious reason for success that everyone is talking about is the fact that this game piggybacked off the success of Pokemon. They definitely gained a lot of attention for being compared to Pokemon, which generates billions of dollars every year. We've all heard at least one person describe Palworld as Pokemon with guns.
Wait, what? Gyarados, Lapras, Pidgeotto, Eevee, Raichu with a machine gun? What the f***?
Not only that, but it capitalized on what Game Freak, the developers of Pokemon, failed to do for years. That's giving players a version of Pokemon that's tailored to adults. It's pretty obvious that the developers of Palworld are feeding into the intrusive thoughts of those who grew up playing Pokemon.
A captured human? What the f***? Are you kidding me? Guys, did I just invent slavery? Holy can I make her do anything for me?
The truth is, killing, enslaving, and even mating with the Pokemon-like creatures are huge sell points to the now adult consumers who grew up playing Pokemon. Now this next point is one that definitely isn't talked about enough. When Palworld dropped, we as gamers were in an absolute dry spell of good games to play. Normally, when a new game drops, people ask their friends to come join them in this new interesting game they've had their eye on for a while. Most of the time, people are already content playing other games and have to find time or justify spending money on a new game. But when Palworld dropped, it seemed like everybody was fiending for a new game to play. Most people I know were either playing the new League of Legends update, trying out the new Tarkov Arena mode, or waiting for the new World of Warcraft Season of Discovery update to drop.
Before Phase 2 comes out, we should just do a lot more variety. And I think right now what I want to do for variety is Palworld.
Maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like the perfect time to drop a game like Palworld because everybody was somewhat bored of the current games that occupied their time. Now let's talk about another reason that's a bit smaller but definitely worth noting. We have only been looking at the Steam charts. People often mention that it's also on Game Pass, but I'm here to tell you that it's kind of not. What's not being talked about is the fact that you can't even access official servers from the Game Pass version. The option isn't even available when you look at the main screen. The only thing you could do is start a server and play with 4 players max using an invite code. So unless you want to play solo or have just a few buddies to play with, you are pretty much forced to buy it on Steam. It might not contribute to much, but I know people who played on Game Pass for the first day, got discouraged, and were pretty much funneled into buying it on Steam even though they have Game Pass. These might not be the only reasons why Palworld has seen such a massive success, so if you guys have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them in the comments. I didn't even want to get into the controversies surrounding the game and how that attention probably affected the size of this game at launch too. Despite its obvious flaws, the game is enjoyable, but I'll continue to call this game average. In my opinion, among other things, the developers just knew what people were wanting and happened to pick an awesome launch time. Looking at this game without the points I mentioned, I would have expected this game's outcome to be similar to Valheim's, which reached about 500,000 concurrent players around launch. One thing I think we can all agree on is the fact that what goes up must come down, and as quickly as this game rose to the top, if the devs don't release an update with quality of life changes and most importantly in my opinion PvP, this game will be lucky to be sitting at 100,000 concurrent users by the end of February.